This is Between the Lines. The Vikings fell in their Thursday night football game to the Chargers 37-10. Now 3-4 on the season. I'm Tatum Everett alongside Ben Leber. And Ben, it just felt like the team off a short week coming out of the gate couldn't get anything going from the start. What do you think was so difficult to overcome there, especially in the beginning?
You know, I mean, obviously the pick six, I love if that was that call stands and we start off the game hot and we got some momentum and some confidence and all of a sudden, do they change their philosophy? Do they go away from their scripted 12 or 15 plays? I don't know, but who knows with the butterfly effect, how that changes the game. But, we don't get the call. We still have to bow up defensively, you hope, and we just couldn't get it done. It's like, they sort of took control of the offensive line in the run game. They exploited us at times in the pass game with a lot of those middle of the field intermediate shots. Herbert did a great job of using his legs. And then, offensively, we had a rough go there trying to run the football. They did a really good job of bowing up. They've been challenged, listening and reading all the things going into this week. They've been challenged as a defense to step up and win the line of scrimmage, and they did that today in both run game and the pass game.
There have been several offensive line combinations this season. That might be one of the headlines, I think, so far this year. 16th starting, 16th different one at the start of this game. When there's so much turnover and changes due to injury, how does it affect the rhythm an offense develops?
It affects it a lot. And, when we talk about the chemistry of teams in certain positions, we often, number one is quarterback, wide receiver. We talk about that all the time. That's the reason why these guys spend so much time in the off season. They go out there, some high school field or a college field, and they're getting their reps. They want to build up that chemistry. The same thing can be said for offensive line. Especially when we're making a change at center. That center position is very important to set the fronts, to find out who the hot guy, the mic is, and which protection, which way you're going to slide, left or right. And when you constantly change out those people up front, and then you look at our tackle situation, it is very difficult for these guys to get a sense and a feel for the guy to the left and the right of you, because some of these things are just instinctful. Yeah, you have to play within the scheme, but other times you have to think so quickly that you want to trust that, I've been in this situation with this guy, X number of times. I know that he's going to be there. It's hard to develop that chemistry and trust.
You spoke to Donovan Jackson there in the locker room. What were some of the sentiments he had to say about the game at the end of the day?
A lot was just his own personal self-reflection on just things that he could do better. And, I think a lot of guys in the locker room were a little shell-shocked by just the way that the game was played. And, same thing as I'm having a hard time deciphering one or two things that went wrong. The guys in the locker room are doing the same thing. It wasn't just one play. It wasn't just one series. It was a culmination of a lot of different things. So I think, for him, he's like, I got to do better. He recognized some plays that he wasn't playing the way it should be played. And they really are going to use this little baby bye week to sort of get right and make those critical changes in those, and analyze yourself critically. What can I do better? Hopefully it gets fixed as we go into Detroit.
Yes, this is the most points allowed by a Brian Flores-led defense with the Vikings. What did you see them struggle with tonight?
Well, number one, stopping the run. Over 200 yards on the ground. That's never winning football. We did get a takeaway, which was nice. Yes. That was a good team effort with Redmond getting some pressure, getting his hand up, tipping the ball, and Metellus coming down with it. That is how you create opportunities. We talk about that. 3 games in a row they didn't get a takeaway, and it does come down to sometimes just creating your own luck, and it can be in a team aspect. But so many times. We would rush 4 or 5 or 6 guys. It really compromises your secondary. If you can't get the quarterback off his spot and disrupt him, they're going to find open holes. And that middle of the field, intermediate, seems to kill us. That seems to be our Achilles heel on defense, that we just can't get a guy in that area and they can find that green grass. And the quarterbacks know at this point in time, if you're under duress and you're getting those 5 and 6 man pressures, that spot's going to be vulnerable. So they hit us with that. They hit us with the quarterback run game on some scrambles. So all around tough day for our defense.
Do you remember a time when you were in a situation like what the Vikings team is going through right now?
Absolutely. It's difficult. And I think what you have to keep in mind is it's not going to just take one play to get this thing back.
Yeah.
It is going to be a collective reassessment about where you are. And unfortunately, I think coaches, they might have to make some tough decisions as well. You might have to say, look, this guy's underperforming. We might have to put a different guy in there. This guy might have to get some new reps and some different reps. We might have to move some guys around. It gets difficult when we have a lot of injuries to deal with, but that's how intense it can be. And unfortunately, that's the name of the game.
All right, Ben, well, thank you so much for your insight. I hope you enjoy your mini bye week because the Vikings are not back in action until a week from Sunday when they are on the road at Detroit. Thanks for watching Between the Lines.